Hi, I'm Olivia Squizzle, and today I'd like to talk about movies because I would love to be able to make movies someday. And I would like to talk about movies that inspire me. And there are two categories of movies that inspire me, and they are like really good movies, like that are just good movies, and then really, really, really bad movies that are so bad I think, maybe I can do this. But because those films are so bad, I rarely remember what they're called. So we'll be talking about the other ones today. So I have a list of four really random films. They each have really different ways in which they inspire me. I'm gonna start with a movie that was like a sort of staple in my family, like growing up, that was like, this is the movie that we need more of. Like, we need more people to be able to make movies like this. And this movie, it's like a Christian, I think it's done by Pureflix. It's called Mom's Night Out. It's a comedy. It is so funny, but it's a Christian film, so it's not, you know, making inappropriate jokes or being gross or anything. It is like 100% clean and so funny, and it still gives a strong message. Like, it's the chaos and beauty of life with a message of the importance of family and the importance of mothers right in there with it. And I just think it is so cool to see films with strong underlying meanings. So that is an example of a really clean, family-friendly comedy with a strong message, which I think is something really important and overlooked. So I think that is something that there should be more of. The next film is a film that it's not wasted potential. It is just, I think, potential beyond the animation. And that sounds so random and weird, but this was once again a film I sort of grew up watching. I didn't watch it near as much, but I recently rewatched it and I was like, what? And that is the movie Planes, Fire, and Rescue. This film is so, like, tragic and kind of intense for a kid's film. It's, like, has, like, a really strong plot line of, you know, like, giving up a dream and finding something new and equally as important to do because you've outgrown something or you can't do something. And it's a really, I mean, it's a beautiful story, but it's really funny in a way because it's this tragic, beautiful story and it's animated talking planes. And it's like, yeah! And I was just like, if this was real people, this movie could be like really emotional. Not that animation can't be emotional. Animation when it's not even humans, that's a little tricky. So that film is just one that, rewatching it, I was like, whoa, this has such a good storyline. I also love the music in that film. I love I love the song Still I Fly in that movie, and I think it just fits that theme so well. The next film I would like to talk about, I have a whole review of this film on my channel. It's a film that I was told, having not seen it, was my only weakness. After watching this film, I couldn't decide if I loved it or hated it. Now, I will say, I have decided I love it, and that film is Napoleon Dynamite. After watching that movie, one of the only thoughts you can have is, no one can ever do anything like that again, and it work. And I think that's the beauty of it, because there's just this irony, this awkwardness, this candid genuineness of that film that is just so amazing, but if you tried to do it, you couldn't. Like, it worked once and it worked beautifully, but I don't think anyone could ever do it again. So I feel like it's really an inspiration of sometimes you can break the rules and it can still be a great movie, for one thing. And two, being really like creative and being out there and different, you can create something that no one else could ever create. Like, it is such a, like, you could try, but it would just be awkward and weird if anyone else tried to do it. But somehow it's become this cult classic. It's like enjoyable, and it, even though there's no plot line, you still get the theme and you still get the message of the sort of just, even if you're an awkward loser, if you're doing what you love, people will see that you're happy and that will be inspiring. And I just think that film is just crazy for being able to do that. Then the last film I would like to talk about is a film that was probably the first movie that, like, in the theater I was sitting there going, whoa, that is what I want to do for the rest of my life, is make movies like this. It is a film that just flipped around my idea of what I thought film could be, because I've always appreciated the idea of like contrasting elements in film, specifically being the tragedy and humor of life. I think when those are like intertwined effortlessly, it's so beautiful because it feels more realistic to have that sort of irony, that sarcasm, that, you know, everyone's always making dark jokes, like, as long as you don't break your leg, and then the next scene your leg's broken. And I think that is something so real and something I relate to so much in films. I love to see it. And I remember being in the theater for a film that failed because it just had awful pacing, and I still enjoyed that film, but then when I watched the other one, I realized what that was supposed to look like. So these two films are, the one that failed at it was Thor Love and Thunder. It was that weird contrast that I wanted to see, but it had a bad plot line, bad visually, and just bad pacing. It didn't actually go back and forth, it jumped around like a maniac. And then when I was in the theater for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I was like, oh my gosh, that's how you do it. That's how you do the thing. That's 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 how you do what I want movies to be. Like, can I study under you, please, James Gunn? That was beautiful. And it had all the underlying messages, and it was beautiful, and it was tragic, and it was so funny, and the music was perfect, and I love when music is used well in films, and it was just amazing. And seeing that movie was just like the breakthrough of, oh, that's what film can be. Okay, I get it now. I see it now. So if anyone has any like suggestions of movies I should watch that would, you know, give me a better understanding of film, if there's classics and, you know, that sort of stuff. The issue with watching the classic movies is my mom won't really let me watch R-rated movies. But there's just so much I would like to see in film, like an action adventure musical. I thought that's what the movie Mulan was going to be. It wasn't. They took out the songs. I think that is something you would have to be a very strong director to be able to pull off those sort of elements, to make it feel balanced, to make it feel natural. I think that could be very cool. But I think having those contrasting elements is what makes movies feel real to me. So that is what I like to see. So those are movies that have inspired me. If you have any information on like courses or something that could help me as an aspiring filmmaker, it would be very appreciated. If you want to comment films that have inspired you, if you have video suggestions, anything at all, leave a comment, subscribe. I'm really trying here, because this is just something really a lot of fun for me. And also being on the acting side of things, being in theater, it is so crazy to like think of what goes in when my directors are like casting shows, because I love to like make up little cast lists in my head, or I even on paper about like any movie or show and cast it with all my theater friends. And it is something that I love doing so much. I've often made jokes about being a casting director even. I would just love to do anything related to that. I love performing and I love creating. And I just think that is like the coolest thing you can do. So that's all I have for today. As always, enjoy your day. I gotta get up and shut off the camera actually. That's the hardest part of every video.